Alright, so what are step functions? In short, step functions are functions that only consist of line segments, and I'm pretty sure that is the only definition, really. They only consist of horizontal line segments, actually. So they will never have a slope, only just discrete line segments. And I'll show you what that actually means right now. So let's say we have a step function. You could find this on page 578 in the book. Let's say we have a step function f of x is equal to, this is notation for the greatest integer that is less than or equal to x. So let's just say that. Okay, so this would represent that, like, as Mr. Hills has probably said, this represents rounding down. You see how the brackets are down? That would mean round down. So let's say if x was 1.2, you'd round that down to 1. If x was 3.9, you'd round that down to 3. If x was pi, you'd round that down to 3. There is special rules if, well, it's not really special, but you don't round down if they are integers. You just leave them as they are. And then people got confused on this when he did a negative. So let's say negative 0.01. You round this down to negative 1 because yeah, on the number line we have 1 and then we have 0. Negative 0.01 lies on here. We don't round it forward. If we round it down to, if we round up to 0, that'd be rounding forward, but we're rounding down as the notation says. So we'd round it back to negative 1. So that is why we rounded down to negative 1. This works for all negative. So if we had negative 2.3, we'd round that down to negative 3, and so on. Okay, so step functions, they're really easy. They're especially easy to graph. Let's say we had this function here. If we make a graph right now, because I keep forgetting to prepare them, we have, alright, I'll just show it to you now. The special way of doing these is, it's actually really simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Let's ignore the step function. Just graph this. Fx is equal to x, y is equal to x. Do not graph all the points, all the points you can on your graph. Do not connect them. This is how you do step functions. So graph all the points, do not connect them, and then instead of connecting them, you just go to the right and then create an open circle, go to the right, create an open circle, go to the right, create an open circle, and then so on. Always create line segments of 1 to the right with an open circle at the end. This represents everything between, like, this would be 0, or this would be 1 and 2, right? And then so if it was 1.5, it would still be 1, because it is in between 1 and 2, and that's the same. And if it was 2, we ignore this since it's a open circle, and then 2 would be equal to 2, because that's what it represents. Graphing complicated, well, not really complicated, but graphing more, I think they're, I think child functions, I guess you call them, child functions of fx, step x, or of fx is equal to greatest integer of x. Let's say, for example, we have, I think this is one of the problems on homework that I don't even think I had to do it. Yeah, look at 12, or yeah, look at 12, and these are, it's actually, it looks complex because now it's an actual equation, but if you just do what I said and not overcomplicate things, you will be all okay. So again, graph it as if the step function was not there. 2x minus 2. Never mind, that's not a plus, that's a minus. Okay, minus 2. Okay, 2x minus 2. And then, so, graph negative 2, and then graph it as you would normally. Do not connect the dots. And then go right 1, create a closed circle, right 1, create a open circle, And then keep doing that for every point. There, you just graph the function. It really isn't that difficult. Step functions. So always graph the function. Graph the function's dots. Then create segments with length of 1. And then with a open dot. With an open dot on the right. There you go. That's how we just work through step functions. That's really all there is to them. They are not difficult. Just if you're graphing them, just graph the step function and then, or graph the normal function without the step, and then just create segments to the right with open dots. If you need any help, just ask me. I'll be free for the most part.